This is an outreach presentation to day laborers, migrant workers in Arizona that we implemented before I left Arizona. So objective for today, we'll be learning about the HTLA Class 6 recommendations that I submitted earlier with our survivor leaders panelists, the report and also the recommendation from that class, as well as building the team, partner organization, community stakeholders, highlighting the multidisciplinary approach we utilize to provide education and materials about workers' rights, and discuss lessons learned in the field, as well as what we were able to change. Without further ado, I wanted to touch base on how the criminal justice approach and focus on anti-trafficking efforts following victimizations create barriers for day laborers and migrant workers, highly at-risk populations due to the criminalizations of their identities as both undocumented immigrants and informal laborers. This criminalizations furthers the historical disenfranchisement the community due to not trusting law enforcement and government agencies, identifying and working with undocumented workers and those informal labor requires local, trusted, accessible, and familiar stakeholders to avoid re-victimizations. All right. So in February 2021 of this year, I graduated among 12 other fellows from the National Human Trafficking Training and Technical Assistance Program. The fellowship's called Human Trafficking Leadership Academy. I was among the Class 6, and our cohort was tasked with answering the question, how can communities assess, respond, and to risk factors among migratory families to prevent labor trafficking? Our fellowships, the 12 fellows, including survivors, produced a list of recommendations and presented it to federal, states, and NGOs interested in labor trafficking. Upon graduation, we were encouraged to submit develop a proposal to submit to NITAC, where they can fund a particular outreach or any program that we wanted, fund for our times, not for the program particularly. And one of the recommendations that I chose was to develop a direct outreach program and resources to undocumented laborers through Know Your Rights programs. I was paired with the National Human Trafficking Technical Assistance, TA, who was at the time my mentor with the National Human Trafficking Leadership Academy, Sophie James. We worked with the Office of Victims of Crimes Training and Technical Assistance Center. I was also paired with a mentor named Newman Lee from the Asian Pacific Development Center, both of which were part of the Human Trafficking Leadership Academy prior. The reason being for the NITAC to pair me with these individuals was because they have done some training as well as some mentorship to individuals who are doing similar works that I was doing in Arizona. So the Know Your Rights recommendations from our cohorts was simply from a part of the Conduct Safe outreach to undocumented laborers. This outreach project is based on that recommendations and to conduct Know Your Right campaigns to help migrant workers understand their federal and state labor laws, for them to know the resources available to them, and also report any violations conducted by any employers that they might be working with. Stakeholders and partners in Arizona to develop this direct outreach program and to provide intervention to undocumented laborers and educate them about the Know Your Rights, as well as providing other resources. So building the team, how do you build an outreach team that goes out to speak and also to actually educate day laborers that are mostly found in places where they are finding just work for a particular day or a few hours? One of my mentors and also a close friend of mine, we always have a conversation about how anti-human trafficking organization often lacked being a United Nations of staff, starting from president, CEOs, and the people right up above in the chain, as well as those who are advising them, the advisor teams. And they lacked having a United Nations staff to a team that's, is considered providing services and also providing, legal services and law enforcement services to a United Nations group. I always ask myself, what would an organization that I decided to create, what would it look like? What would I have on my team? And that's what I try to do from the beginning by bringing in individuals who are trusted, individuals who victims that we might potentially come across, who are day laborers in Arizona can potentially come across and also resonate with them, people that they can identify with them, people who speak the same language as them, people who, potentially look like them, and as well as people who they share the same gender identities with them, and so forth. So that's what we wanted to do from the beginning. That's what I wanted to do from the beginning. Upon the approval from the National Human Trafficking Technical Assistant, the A team, including myself, put together a list of community partners to work on the projects, including the McCain Institute, Combating Human Trafficking Program, Chicano por la Casa, the International Rescue Committee, Terrace Health, the Consulate General of Mexico, and the Consulate General of Guatemala, as well as the staff team from ASU STIR. Everyone was on board with the initiative from the beginning, resulting in the creation of what we call Project ALTO. And the Project ALTO became about Arizona labor trafficking outreach. The project mission is to identify, work with undocumented workers and those in former labor, to give them not only the Know Your Right brochures, but also provide them the opportunities to actually receive services in all of these partners that we will put together, including housing, including medical, mental health, employment assistance, legal help, and all of these services that we were to offer. So the do before events, and we all learned Arizona has a history of putting together sex trafficking outreaches led by Dr. Rosa with Dominic Rosa, who was my previous director. I learned from her that there are certain things that you're supposed to do way before you conduct events, including ensuring that there is a field training for the group that is that is providing training that is provided for all volunteer staffs, and that training was conducted by the McCain Institute, Gonzalo Martinez, who has a history of doing outreach trainings, outreach events in Texas in agricultural field. So Gonzalo's was able to come in, teach us how to best approach individuals in the fields and things to look out for, including asking open-ended question instead of asking a direct question. Are you being trafficked? Why not ask questions about, okay, how long have you worked with this for this person? When you work with them, what sort of things do you do with them? And how often do you get paid? Are you being paid under the table? Is it cash? Is it check? Have you ever been, abused and so forth? We also ensure that, we had T-shirts and also the Know Your Rights brochure printed and approved before the events, which was done by the McCain Institute. We put together snacks, water, hygiene products, invite more partners to ensure that we had a smoother operation. We also ensure that the outreach team consists of bilingual staff, members to conduct on-site referral and data collections. I mentioned earlier to have a united member of staffs and volunteers on board. We need to have individuals that actually speak Spanish, individuals who actually speak all the languages that are necessary for us to conduct this service. And all of these agencies that came together spoke 2 to 3 languages, including myself. So that's what we came up with. So the first labor trafficking outreach took place in June 26. The outreach event was conducted at a single shopping center in an area with a highly visible populations of at-risk individuals in Phoenix area, near 36th Street and Thomas. If you are someone who has visited Phoenix and also will live in Phoenix, you will know that around that area, there is a highly visible, undocumented, also day laborers that congregate there. The outreach event was exclusive only to individuals who have gone through the trauma-informed trainings conducted by the McCain Institute. And prior to the events, I visited the area 2 Saturdays before to ensure that this is a qualified location for where day laborers stay at. During the first event, the Irish team set up tents and tables. The first table that was visited by day laborers had 2 volunteers, one Spanish-speaking volunteer and also one English-speaking volunteer who screen possible victims at the event. They then refer those who identify themselves as victims of labor trafficking to receive services at tables such as Terrace Health, Chicana Puerto La Costa, the Consulate General of Mexico, as well as the Consulate General of Guatemala. The first events, we made contact with up to 33 day laborers during that time, and we screened them all. All 33 persons were referred to services after meeting the qualification to be day laborers, and also educating them about how to prevent possible exploitation. Through conversations and also intakes, 14 individuals identified themselves as having experienced labor trafficking and exploitations. Of the 33 individuals who we made contact with, only 16 of them gave their consent to do intakes. So we made sure that we explained why we were here today. We asked their consents and their permission to do an intake before we even conduct any sort of conversation with them. So the day laborers range in age from 26 to 64 years old. All 16 of the individuals who gave their consents to do intake identified as cisgender males. 11 day laborers identified Spanish-speaking persons, 4 identified as English-speaking persons, and 1 identified as speaking both English and Spanish. The 12 day laborers identified themselves as 12 laborers identified themselves as Hispanics, and 3 identified as Caucasians. 1 identified as a Native American, specifically a Navajo nations. 14 of the 16 clients who reported they currently live in Phoenix also reported they visit that Home Depot very often. A majority of the day laborers reported that they originate from Mexico, followed by Guatemala and United States and Honduras. Of the 16 day laborers that agreed to do intakes, 8 reported that they do not have legal documents to work in the United States. Among those who reported that they're able to work in the United States and that they had legal documents, language barriers, trouble with the law, and social and economic mobilities were among the top answer as to why they were not able to secure formal employment. Of the 16 clients that reported their housing status, 4 reported that their housing is not safe and not stable, and 3 reported that they were currently homeless. So the recruitment tactics we were able to ask recruitment tactics used by traffickers in the intake that we did to the 16-day laborers. And when asked about the recruitment tactics used by the traffickers, 4 individuals reported that they were tricked or forced into doing work for money, and then ended up getting exploited and not being paid. 2 were tricked into or forced into doing work with promise of work visa. 2 were tricked into doing work for food. 1 was tricked into doing work for drugs. 1 was tricked into doing work for a place to stay, and 1 was tricked or forced into doing work in exchange for transportation. 1 reported that their trafficker attempted sexual abuse on them to force them into doing work. When asked about their labor trafficking experience and also their labor trafficking situation, 4 individuals were picked up by a middleman and got dropped off to work at a landscape site. Once they were working, they asked their pay, and the person on site stated that they did not have any payments for them because the middleman had been paid already. The person stated that the middleman, the recruiter, was supposed to pay the workers and their salaries, and that he was not responsible anymore because he had already given the money to the middleman. Further conversation that we received, and also information we received by having conversation with the individuals and also doing intake, includes individuals saying that will work and they will tell me that another guy will pay me and I would leave without getting paid. This happened twice, and I contacted my trafficker at the Home Depot. Also including I did not get paid. I did plumbing work. I promised pay for certain amounts and ended up getting paid less today. And this happened the same day that we were doing the event, actually. So we asked them if they would like to report this to law enforcement, and also if they want to do a follow-up investigations. And at the time, they were not interested in doing so. Additionally, 1 person stated that at Home Depot, worked at moving items for the trafficker. I didn't get paid the $230 promised to me. Another person say that he worked as a locksmith, frequently gets offered an amount and they pay less or do not pay him at all. Additionally, 1 person said he was promised 1 day of work for $130 and did not get the amount of pay that they that was promised to them. During the first event, 1 day laborer particular reported that he worked as a painter at painting, landscaping, construction. He reported that he pressed charges against his trafficker but needed a civil attorney. Their Irish team referred him to legal services at one of the social service provider agencies. 3-day laborers from Guatemala requested assistance with getting their passports and national IDs renewed and accepted on-site services from the Consulate General of Guatemala. The consulate also further instructed the three Guatemalan national to visit their office the following Monday, because we were doing that on Saturday, to actually receive services at the office, including getting their pictures taken, also getting their fingerprint screen as well. So services that were requested and also services provided to day laborers, and services that they were referred to include 2 individuals requesting housing, 3 requesting transportations, 3 requesting hygiene products, which were also provided on site because we have hygiene products on site. 3 requested bus passes, 5 requested employment assistance, 4 requested legal immigration assistance, including the 3 Guatemalans nationals. 4 requested gift cards for food and gas. 2 requested clothes. 3 requested food assistance. 2 requested condoms, and feminine hygienic products were requested by 1 person. We noticed that on site there was a particular individuals who was actually coming back for more hygienic products and going back to giving them to a person he referred to as his wife. So that happens a lot too, and also we imagine other day laborers taking a lot more items than items that could have been for just 1 person, because they saw that this was an opportunity for them to take these items back to their homes. Other services provided on site include legal consultations, shelter referrals, bags with hygiene products, masks, hand sanitizers, temperature stables, and food snacks that were provided on sites. So the second labor trafficking outreach event was conducted at 2 separate locations, both shopping centers, in areas with, again, within an area with highly visible persons who are day laborers in West Phoenix. I again visited the areas on a Saturday before to scan movement activities to determine if this area qualify for as a day laborers area. The outreach team did not set up tents at this during this time, because one of the reasons that we did not do it was because during the first event, we got kicked out by Home Depot manager due to the fact that they said that we needed at least a $2 million event insurance that we did not have at the time. And also they were claiming that if anything would have happened, say someone had been hit by a car or an accident happened at the lot, they would have been liable for it, which I came to find out that this was also a lie, and it was also a tactic to actually scare us off. And before we actually conducted the first outreach at 36th Street and Thomas, I personally went to Home Depot and spoke with a manager there at on a Tuesday before the event. I explained to them what we were doing, explained to them the population that we were going to reach, and explained to them that we were not getting in the way of their business, and we were given permission to actually conduct these outreaches. And thanks to leaderships of Dr. Rosa Booth for actually bringing this up and encouraging me to do so. So having been kicked out 30 minutes before was a very big surprise to me and our team as well. So that's one of the reasons why we were not able to actually set up tents at our second outreach. So during the first on-sites, the first site we visit was we made contact with 20-day laborers and handed them brochures and pockets cards. 18 of the day laborers spoke Spanish, 2 spoke English. 17 of the day laborers were migrants, and 3 were United States citizen. 1 person particularly needed housing assistance. Another requested immigration assistance, and he stated he was a US citizen. He stated that he lost his citizenship certificate and needed to replace it. However, he did not have the proper means, including transportations, language translation, and money to fund his applications, and to get also to get to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service Regional Office in Phoenix, Arizona. One of our on-site agencies, the International Rescue Committee, was able to direct him with resources, including pro bono legal assistance and referral for the transportations, so he can go to USCIS to actually get his citizenship applications renewed. So the Irish team made contact with the 27 day laborers at the second site. Of the 27 day laborers, 26 individuals spoke Spanish, and 1 of them spoke Amharic, which is Ethiopian national language. To many individuals who know me and also know my story, I did spend some time in Ethiopia in the refugee camp, so I got to pick Amharic and as one of my multiple languages that I speak. And I was able to communicate with individuals in Amharic and also in our own little broken English that we had. This is why I did mention earlier from the beginning that it's always important to have a united nation of staff that are on board when we're doing this type of events. Also, when we are doing this type of services to individuals who are a United Nations. So the individuals that spoke Amharic stated that he was getting paid $20 an hour as the roofer. When asked about what he does, in addition to receiving information about programs and services, the day laborers were also provided educational brochures on labor rights, as well as food and water at the second site. One of the Spanish language speakers stated that he was on site to protect other workers' rights. He stated that he has been educating day laborers about labor trafficking and how they can protect themselves. He said that sometime he would go with them to actually go to construction site, to go to agricultural site, as well as roofing site, to actually make sure that they're not being exploited. So it was good to actually get some good news, knowing that one individual was actually getting paid $20 an hour, and more than what the federal minimum wage is, and also there was someone who was actually doing some work inside within the day laborers community. So that was something that we took that was greatly positive while doing this at the second site. All right, so the third events took place due to the Mexican Consulate network in the United States, which hosted resources table at the consulate offices every year on the week prior to Labor Day. This year's themes is Labor Rights Week, and it just so happened to be that we were also doing Know Your Rights outreaches as well. And it consists of a series of activities aimed at creating awareness among workers of their rights and resources at their disposal. The Mexican government believes that it is particularly important to reach out to workers in the community, since they are more vulnerable to violation and exploitation due to their irregular status in the United States. I believe that everyone that is part of the Know Your Rights outreach team, the project also shared as well. As part of the this year's activities, which took place from August 30th to September 3rd, the Mexican Consulate General in Phoenix, Arizona, offer legal consultations on labor-related issues, posted videos on social media and materials on their social medias, they held live webinars as well as radio programs on the project. The Mexican Consulate invited members of Project ALTO to host and also be alongside them, hosting resources table from September 1st and September 3rd. Members of the Chicano por la Casa team, who is also part of our labor trafficking Know Your Rights team, the project also all spoke Spanish, were able to actually attend during this day 1 and day 2, September 1st and September 3rd, and made contact with Mexican nationals and pass out resources about Know Your Rights. On the first day, CPLC, human trafficking team, set up a table within the main lobby area where people visited and waited in line for services that they provided by the Consulate General. Of those services provided by the Chicano por la Casa, they made contact with 13 of the individuals who also spoke with, and individuals who were curious and just wanted to know that what was happening. None of the 13 individuals shared any personal stories that indicated exploitation or expression of any interest in enrolling in case management, as well as wanting more information about labor exploitation or labor trafficking. All of the 13 individuals spoke Spanish. In addition to the CPLC team, Valle del Sol was also in attendance and had a table set up to share general program resources. On the second day, September 3rd, the CPL team made contact with 18 individuals, and three individuals expressed that they would like to get in contact with the CPL team to learn more about human trafficking and case management services. Of the three individuals, one person stated that he is currently a farm worker at a farm in Buckeye, Arizona, and that he has knowledge of several people who have reported not getting paid, and what they should and that they should be paid, and they were not paid what they were promised. All of the 18 individuals the CPL team had made contact with spoke Spanish again at as their first language. In addition to the CPL team table, there were one additional table that had one lawyer presented who answered legal questions. The majority of those who they spoke with mainly through conveniences, including people who walked past the table on their ways to other services being offered by the Consulate General, as well as people who were under the impression that it was a different CPLC department, not the human trafficking related one. Right. So what has been learned throughout all of these, and also what changes were made throughout the outreach activities that we conducted through June all the way to September. We did recognize that the outreach team needed more Spanish-speaking volunteers, and we were short-staffed at certain events. We also recognized that the flow of the referral at the first event needed to be more structured, where we had where we needed a structural and more clear approach to actually have day laborers line up from one place to another, and by doing so, to reduce our risk of making contact with individuals who might potentially have COVID, and also to have a smoother referral and also conversation with day laborers as well. We also recognize that the outreach team realized that they needed to come on site earlier than schedules, because we would go there at 7 a.m. and our job would be done at 9 a.m. At 11 a.m. To have more interaction with day laborers, we needed to come earlier, maybe 6:30 a.m. or 5 a.m. because during the time we were doing it, it was summertime, and summertime sun's out pretty early. And that's when people are, going to Home Depot, buying materials so they can start their work very early before the sun comes out, to actually do roofing, constructions, and so forth. So we did recognize that we needed to come earlier to make more contact with day laborers, because that's one of the thing that one of the day laborers actually advised us to do, saying that you need to come earlier than 7 a.m. Realistically, the outreach team could not do HIV testing, Hep testing on site, as it was deemed unethical and also in an open tent. So we did not do HIV testing on site, but we did referral. We made referral. We told them that these services are free to you. So Terrace Health was actually offering these services for free. You can go Monday through Friday to actually receive services, get your 2 minutes, 5 minutes HIV test result within that time, and it's not going to require a lot of time for you. So just because it was deemed unethical, and also it was at an open space, we were not able to do on-site HIV testing. Additionally, the outreach team needed to have a poster or a sign signaling there was an event happening and take place to actually draw more people, and also to actually deter people who actually came to actually visit us and to actually wanted to see what was happening, because there were instances where people would come, they were like, what are you, what services are you offering? Some would be thinking that it was a back to school drive. Some was thinking that it was a COVID testing site. So we needed to have a signage signaling what we were doing. So we did that. The Irish team did not have a crisis contact person on site. Our contact person on site actually that was supposed to be on site stated that, and I don't know if this is a protocol or a rule to all the agencies that have a crisis contact person. It was stated that the person has to be willing, the person on crisis has to be willing for the contact person, for the on-site crisis contact person to be there. So during the events, there was one particular individual who was clearly on crisis, and we needed someone to actually intervene, someone to actually do what we were not able to do, because none of us knew how to actually approach an individual who was in crisis. So we did recognize that we needed an on-site person. This program was not funded, so it was hard to actually get someone on site. Some people were taking pictures of us. That's one of the things that we learned. They were taking pictures of us from their vehicles, trying to see what we were doing. Some of them, some of the conversation we had as the Irish team, we were thinking maybe some of them are potentials, traffickers who are actually just, trying to see what we're doing. And maybe they've seen this for the first time. They wanted to know what was happening. And majority of them were people who were actually having conversation with day laborers to actually, have jobs for one day. So there was a lot of theories as to why they might have been taking pictures. Again, the Home Depot manager kicking us out was also another lesson that we learned, and we decided to go to actually use other innovative means, including not setting up a tents to attract the Home Depot managers, for them to actually come out of their workplaces to actually speak to us. So the next events that we did in July, and the next event that we did in September, we actually made sure that we were not doing tents, and we were having a walkthrough through the parking lots, having conversations with the day laborers, and also to actually give out the Know Your Rights. And it was very successful. We made contact with many people. One of the downsides with that was that we were not able to actually conduct proper data collections, because there was no space for it with us. And also things went by quickly. We divided ourselves into teams of 2 or 3 individuals who actually spoke English and Spanish, and it was not feasible for us to actually conduct on-site data. So that's why we were not able to ask many questions about things that we had previously asked in the first events. So the pros of these were that overall, during the Consulate General events, the CPL team, human trafficking team, stated that the people that they did speak to with over the 2 days appear comfortable with sharing personal stories when appropriate. So we did recognize that there was some trust, unlike many outreaches that we've been to, including the sex trafficking outreaches, where it's often clients would often not want to talk about personal experiences and also personal stories. The location of the events were saved in a way, and had highly visible populations of day laborers, because we did not have any major difficulties with anyone from outside, beside the Home Depot's manager and the person that was on crisis, and we were not given any difficulty by anyone else. The Irish team made contact with highly number of day laborers than expected. This is a pro because we were able to educate them about their rights, and also encourage them to actually bring these resources, and also speak about their right to the community, to let them know that you have these rights. Unlike your exploiter, your traffickers might be telling you that you don't have rights because you're not a U.S. citizen. Everyone in the United States have the same equal rights to their labor rights. A lot of people were taking Spanish, the small pockets, a brochure instead of the big ones. We saw that this was very positive, because we deem that they can hide it from the trafficker, and they won't be suspected right away that they were carrying information about their rights. So that was a positive thing. And the next events that we were doing, we were able to produce a lot more of these because that was the demand at the time. We provided, hand sanitizers went out pretty fast. So we saw that health and safety was first to everyone, including day laborers. So that was a positive thing. A random citizen on site at the first site that saw us and what we were doing went to the nearby Walgreens, came out of Walgreens and with a case of water and drinks and actually offer us these services. So we saw that just having an ordinary citizen that did not even ask questions, did not even introduce himself, did not even ask what we were doing, actually came out to us and actually went and spent his own resources, his own money to give us water and drinks to distribute to day laborers and also among the staff, was a positive thing. So we were grateful for that. Just someone who we did not know, had no conversation with. So that was something that was positive. So the conclusion to this, while conducting this event, we also recognize that there's a possibility that we may be getting in the way of day laborers from getting recruited to work and make money as they usually do. However, the teams, we also know that spending at least 5 minutes with them and also giving them the resources that they need, and also about the know your rights, can actually protect themselves. So just giving us 5 minutes of that, we do recognize that they might be missing out of jobs that they could have potentially been recruited to. So that, that's something we kept in mind. We also wanted to let the public know that the purpose of these Know Your Rights campaigns is to help workers understand their federal laws, patterns to state law, labor laws as well as information about resources that that they can receive in the community. These campaigns were designed to clarify what a healthy and unhealthy workplace environment, including the topic of wages, our rights, health and safety, harassment and discriminations, as well as human rights. The Arizona Labor Trafficking Outreach Team, the Project ALTO, provide migrants with brochures containing these in English and Spanish. The resources given to migrants workers are culturally sensitive and have accessible language, including graphics. We also know that the in-depth and sincerity of the project reveal the eagerness and passion of the Arizona anti-trafficking community to assess and respond to labor trafficking in their state. This initiative aims at bringing about positive changes at local, state, and federal levels and brings about strong collaborative efforts in the state. This initiative is made possible by the Arizona anti-trafficking organizations in collaboration between governments of the United States, the Mexican government, and the Guatemalan government. It should be noted that this initiative was not grant funded, and partners on this initiative utilize resources that were already available to them. Many thanks to Dr. Dominic Rosapawith and our team at ASU. And also currently they are putting together an outreach box that they can use to share the outreach activities with other states, other cities, or anyone who wants to do inner city labor trafficking, because we do recognize that labor trafficking outreaches are not conducted in inner cities. We talk a lot about agricultural field. We talk a lot about construction industry. We talk a lot about how we're not seeing them. We do recognize that one of the problems that we're not seeing labor trafficking, and also how we're not seeing day laborers being exploited and migrant workers, is because we really don't know where to look. Here, we know where to look now. In the western states of the United States, such as Texas, Arizona, California, Colorado, Nevada, any places where there's a higher number of day laborers, If you want to do the day labor outreaches as well, for labor trafficking outreaches or any sort of other outreaches, you want to do such events, that's where you need to look. You need to look at places where day laborers were most arrested at. For example, in Arizona, we were able to use the experiences that during, from 2009 to 2011, when Sheriff Joe Arpaio was coming in and arresting day laborers and putting them in tents. They were looking at those places. So in order for us to actually have a clear outreach to day laborers, we need to also look at those places as well. And that's why we all need to look. And if there's any other places that where any advice where we can actually do this sort of outreaches, please just put that in the box for other people to actually conduct these outreaches. All right, that is it for me. Thank you so much, everyone. This is my email. If you have any questions, post presentation and symposium, feel free to reach out. If you just want to connect, I'm on LinkedIn as well. Feel free to connect with me.